Joey Reese and Billy Bouchard.
Okay, Chris, I'm going to stop.
What do you use to edit all this? Do you use like GarageBand? Or...
Yeah, I just use GarageBand.
Okay.
I use
I've used
GarageBand for
OS.
my stuff. Reese edits Pickle and Boot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I send him. We do it really weird because Zencastr was failing us. So we got away from Zencastr because we lost. There's 3 episodes that one of them was the best episode we've ever done. It was hilarious. It was amazing. And it was lost on Zencastr. And we couldn't get it back. And then when we re-recorded it, all that, like all that stuff that was spontaneous and whatnot wasn't there. And it just wasn't good. So we ended up losing over the course of a couple of recording sessions. We lost 3 different episodes because it was just screwing up. So we stopped doing it. So what we do now, we'll probably even leave this in, all this banter. What we do now is I run my microphone into my computer and it runs directly into GarageBand. Then on my cell phone, he calls me on Skype. So we Skype over our phones and record it. So we have backup audio on Skype.
Oh, wow.
And then we record the audio track nice and clear on GarageBand. If anything were to happen, like, so if Skype failed, then we have what's the real one on the GarageBand. But if GarageBand doesn't work, then he uses the Skype. Now, mind you, when he had COVID, I sent him my audio from GarageBand for an episode, and he was so out of it with COVID, he used my Skype audio, but his GarageBand audio. God. So I sound horrible and he sounds great. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
So we're going to fire it up right now, even though everyone's probably been listening to us already because we edit very little out of all this and we like to show all the nonsense in the background. As you know, because you're a Patreon. I am. We patronize you. I'm a Patreon now too.
For your own show?
I pay for my own show because we'll get into it. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another. I think this is the bonus, or the other was the bonus. I don't know what you want to call it.
Everything's the bonus.
Yeah, to episode 28, bonus stuff. Chris Williams is back with me. He's going to be asking more questions on the 2s and 30s and 35s, on the half hours and the quarter hours. I don't know math that well. He's going to be doing all that. He's back with us. I hope you guys enjoyed him being last time. I did. I just want to listen to you and Reese, like you just interview Reese, and I'll take a 2-week vacation and you can interview him. But yeah, so we do all this stuff over Skype and over GarageBand and all that. And then we post it. Oh, Patreon. That's what I was. So what I do is I'm not, people are always like, do you listen to your own music or do you listen to your own podcast? Or if someone hears me listening to a podcast, you listen to your own stuff. That's kind of weird. Well, no, I listen to figure out how I can get better. Mm-hmm. I try not to say yes as much. I try not to say, I try not to say like. I'm really trying to stop saying like. So I listen to myself so I can critique myself and get better. Well, what was happening was the free stuff I can pull up and listen to. The Patreon is through Reese's account. Whenever I went to log on, he gave me the passwords and stuff to it. Whenever I went to log on, it would say that I had to verify. And so it would send him an email. So he was working and then he would like get home and there'd be an email, and we all know Reese Roper. He doesn't check his email every day. So I could never log on to the Patreon to get the bonus stuff. So I was like, for $5 a month, I'll just pay it myself and then I'll get my $5 back you know, when we get our money for Patreon, I'll just take my $5 back.
There's got to be some like money laundering thing to that. Like,
Yeah,
like you're
maybe.
cleaning up your own money.
Yeah, maybe. So that's what I did. And then he sent me a text like, did you just sign up for Patreon? I'm like, yeah, because I can't get into it. I can't listen, and I want to be able to listen. Plus the fan page, the little community page that we have, the diabolical discussion, um, that like they would be talking about stuff on there that I couldn't remember talking about. So they would be discussing things, and like there'd be like good funny discussions, and I'm like, when you do these things, as you know, you don't remember what you said. You're just talking. Like we don't all remember all the conversations we had yesterday with everybody. And that's what it is. So it's like a week later, your conversation that, you had with someone that was recorded, like you don't remember it. So people are talking about stuff on the diabolical discussion page, and I don't know what they're talking about. And I feel left out, even though I was the one talking about it.
That page is so crazy. Like I'm a member of it because I'm a Patreon. I'm paying for myself to be here today, but that you got a really good fan page there. Like that is some great stuff.
People are so creative on there. It's so funny.
It was the hardest I have ever laughed probably this entire year, except for seeing Jackass Forever, is listening to the G.I. Joe discussion.
Yes.
And then going on to the diabolical discussion page and seeing everyone else just pile onto that.
Yes.
And I don't know if anyone ever figured out either. Or I don't think you guys said anything about it. I could be wrong and someone will correct me. Did anyone ever put together the fact that G.I. Joe could very well be like gastrointestinal tract Joe? Like,
you're right.
Which would actually that would be an appropriate name for your podcast too. So.
Oh, it's spinoff.
Yeah, there you go.
An offshoot, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that page is so funny. I love when people make memes, because you never think you're going to be a meme, right? Like you look at memes. You look at Leonardo DiCaprio, doing his like laugh that people put after they think they're being like sarcastic. Those things. Or you see the Michael Jackson meme where he's doing, or the GIF where he's throwing popcorn in his mouth, and you see all these memes, and then these creative people go on the discussion page and they make memes about what we talked about, and it's hilarious. I'm constantly like saving them, and then like I send them to my girlfriend, and I'm just like, "Hey, look at this," and she's just like, "What? Like, what in the world were you talking about?" Where that meme was made. So it's always pretty funny. I'm pretty proud of having some of those. In fact, one that I remember recently, it was like the Scooby-Doo one.
Yes.
Yeah. So it was like Reese was Fred pulling the mask off, and I forget what the mask was. And it was like, dang it, I forget off the top of my head what it was, but it was like, I don't know, something that we always talk about. And then they pull the mask off, and it's me underneath it.
It was the Polish stalker.
Yes. Mind you, I got an email. I don't even know how she got my email. I mean, it was probably not hard to find, but the Polish stalker, got my email and sent me an email this week that said, stop. It said, stop like committing hate crimes against me on the podcast. Wow. So apparently on the podcast, we're hate criming. I don't know what that means, but so she sent me that, and I was like, what? I was like, delete. So yeah, but the Polish stalker is always a lot of fun. And there's people that talk to her on the regular basis. Like, people know who she is from the page and all sorts of stuff. People know who she is. They try and communicate, and people will be like, yeah, I started talking to her, and then she got weird and started going off about this and this. So now I blocked her too. And so it's like, dude, just don't even get started. Just don't even get started with her.
Yeah, don't pay that
So
troll.
yeah, so if you're out there right now and you're thinking, "Hey, I think I want to verbally spar with her or try and befriend her," I wouldn't. It hasn't turned out good for anybody yet. So I
It's
just
like
wouldn't.
it's like when you see one of your friends has started a political commentary on Facebook and someone's digging into their comments and you're like, "Well, this looks like a job for me. I'll jump in and set them straight."
Yes.
And like then it's like 2 hours later you're going back and forth and you're just like life is too short.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. What was so funny, man, you know what? I'm not even going to talk about it because I don't even really remember if I'm going to be able to remember the story correctly. So I'm not gonna say it. Um, I'm sorry, guys. That was weird. Hopefully that'll get edited out. Okay, so anyways, you guys, we have Chris Williams back. Chris and I did a podcast called The Cross Culture Critic, where we took pop culture, whether that was like entertainment, music, movies, television shows, kind of anything was just kind of pop culture, and we looked at it through the lens of Christianity and like kind of like WWJD in this situation or things like that, or how Chris grew up, how I grew up, things of that nature. And Chris is one of the best, I call him journalists. I don't know if he'd call himself a journalist. I don't know if you went to school for journalism. I'm always half listening to what you say, your schooling and your resume is. But Chris is a fantastic interviewer, and if you listen to the last podcast, hopefully you saw that, because I did. I felt it. I think he's amazing in what he does. So I wanted to have him back. We wanted to do another hour together, and so again, Chris, I'm turning this over to you, and you can take this in whatever direction you feel you want to.
All right, I'm going to start this one off with a story though, because it was something I had on my mind recently when I was talking to my wife, and when you asked me to come on the show, I was like, "Oh, that'd be a good question to propose." So, last week, my wife and I went to Florida. Right,
Okay.
like we did our first week away without kids in like 9 years. Like
Holy smoke.
it was great. We went to Universal Studios. We'd been talking about it for a while. I am obviously a big movie fan. She's a huge Harry Potter fan. So we're
I
like,
was going to say that's where the Harry Potter thing is,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, and so we went out, did it. It was great. Like if you've never been, it is like stepping into a movie out there. It's fantastic. And so we spent a lot of time like in the two Harry Potter worlds they have, which I don't know how you are on the Harry Potter movies, if you've seen them, read the books, or
I always panned it. I always made fun of it. It was a joke to me, like I always call him Harold Porter. So the Harold Porter series, I didn't like. I made fun of because it wasn't my generation. It wasn't my. I don't feel like it was my group of people, my age group. And then my daughters grew up, and it was already out there, and it was already going, and they kind of got into it. My youngest, especially, Mia. So my oldest, Ella, she's into like Star Wars and Marvel, and then my youngest got into Harry Potter, and I was always making fun of it. And then like one day, I was like, you know what? Like my daughter likes it. So for like Christmas, I was like, hey, as one of your stocking stuffers, I'll watch all the Harold Porter movies with you. And so I did. I watched them with her. Is it something I'm ever going to get into and probably learn all the characters and know everything about? No. Do I think they're good movies? Yes. If I walked out of my room right now and Mia was watching a movie, I'd probably sit down and start watching it with her. But I'm not like taking quizzes as to like uh what group I'm a part of. Although I did do that. I say I'm not doing it, but my kids made me do it, and I'm the worst one, I think. I'm snuggle puffed or whatever
I was
that.
gonna say that sounds like such a Hufflepuff thing to say.
Yeah. So that's what I am. Hugglepuff. Wait, I can't wait. What is it?
I know,
Hugglepuff.
Hufflepuff. Yeah.
Hufflepump. So anyway, that's what I am. But
Okay.
supposedly. So that's where I am with Harry Potter. I'm never going to contribute a dime to it, but my kids like it, and I'll watch it with them. And again, I don't know the character. I know Harry. I always say the girl, and then Ron is the redhead kid,
Mhm.
right? Ron
Yeah,
Weasley.
you got it.
Uh, I'm trying to think. Miss Finster is the guy. He heads up Slytherin.
Mr. Boogedy.
Oh.
I don't know. That we're just making. No, I don't know. I'm making up names.
Yeah,
now.
so was I. I think I was pulling characters out of Recess, Schools Out. But yeah, so there's that. So go ahead with Harry Potter. I'm not big into it, but I don't criticize it anymore. If people like it, they like it.
Okay, and that wasn't my main question. But like my wife is a big fan. I'm probably a little bit bigger fan than you. I read the books. I had a coworker who like bothered me until I read the books, and then I read them. Like, oh, actually,
what a crummy
like,
coworker.
actually, but I was glad because like she told me get through the first 3, and you can stop there if you don't.
Wait, get through the first 3 books or the first 3 chapters?
First 3 books.
That's inappropriate. You can't tell somebody that.
They were kids' books, and they're like 200 pages at first.
Oh my goodness! Just get through the first 3 books. Come on.
So I was like, all right, I like these. I saw the movies. I think my wife and our second date was one of the movies. So that's always kind of been special. So it was really cool to like walk in and it looks like, oh my gosh, this movie has come to life. The rides are amazing. It's like, they're throwing you in front of dragons and fire. And, my wife has a wand, bought a wand there. She's going around doing spells and they have little things. So we leave there, and they also have a Simpsons world, which is like my thing. Like,
yes, I saw your pictures of that, and I wanted to be there.
Yeah, I am a like Simpsons obsessive. I have often considered like writing a book or doing like a podcast or something where I'm like relating every single issue I can think of to an episode of The Simpsons, because I think there is something in The Simpsons for everything that happens in life, because it's just such a far-reaching.
You should do a podcast where you just go over one episode every podcast.
Oh, I thought about that too. I thought about actually at first writing a weekly newsletter about that, and then I'm like, that would take forever because like 500 episodes.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. You have tons of content. I mean, Pickle and Boot Shop, we're getting toward the end here. I don't know how much more we got in the tank, much more people want to hear. We're going to be tripling up on stories.
That year took it out of you.
Yeah.
But no, so she has Harry Potter World, I have Simpsons World. We walk around the park and my wife brings up, we both grew up in really strict Christian culture. And we are at an amusement park that has entire lands devoted to things we were not allowed to see. Like, I wasn't allowed to watch Simpsons. I think we were both adults by the time we read Harry Potter. So, but I can remember like discussions with my friends who were convinced that it was evil and I shouldn't be reading it.
Yeah.
But it got me thinking, like, I'm so glad that I eventually started watching The Simpsons.
Yeah.
If I had never read Harry Potter, my wife and I may not have had a second date. So I started to think, I'm like, was there anything that was off limits to you in Christian culture, the circles you ran in, where later in life you either caught back up with it and was like, why did I waste so much of my life not taking part in this? Or I never got around to this and I kind of regret that I've never gotten around to this.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, the stuff with one sec. B? Oh, I thought my daughter said goodnight. So we'll edit that out. Yeah, so were there things from my childhood that I didn't partake in because of my faith and like Christian upbringing that like now I do? Is that
Yeah. Or you never got around to it because maybe you're just too old now and you're like, man, I feel like I missed out on something.
Yeah, there's a couple of things. I mean, on the smaller scale, the smaller end of the scale, like I remember being in our tour bus and I popped in. I'm sure I knew what it was because I'm sure I looked at it, but I popped in a Motley Crue CD or somebody was playing Motley Crue. And I was like, who is that? Like I heard it. It sounded like one of the greatest punk bands I'd ever heard. So it's like mid-90s into pop punk. I'm getting to know punk of the past. and still relatively young, and the genre is large, and there's more bands coming out every week, and I'm trying to learn where it started and who's the latest and all these, and everybody in between. And I hear Motley Crue, and I hear like Kickstart My Heart, and I'm like, this is fantastic. I'm like, what punk band is this? Like, I've never heard these guys before. And like the guys in the band, like Nate and Bo, that have like a nice metal history, they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, dude, listen to this band. This band is fantastic. And they're like, this is Motley Crue. And I'm like, are you serious? And they're like, yeah, it's Motley Crue. So like growing up, I wasn't allowed to listen to metal. And some of the stuff that got through to me was the more like palatable metal. And when I say that, like kind of played more on like Poison. Like
Sure.
Poison is never going to be like a band that your parents are like, you can't listen to Poison because it's almost like party metal, but like your Motley Crue, because like our parents had heard at church that this Nikki Sixx was of the devil, and all these different things. So I had never listened to Motley Crue, and then listening to them for the first time in 1997, I was blown away. And I love Motley Crue, and I love Motley Crue to this day. I absolutely love Motley Crue. There was that. There was, and then you go to the other end of the scale and like drinking. So like a big topic like that, I didn't have my first drink. I think we talked about this on Cross Culture Critic. I didn't have my
but like 2 people that listened to that. So.
Yeah, and it was us.
It was
we were critiquing ourselves. And then so like with drinking, I didn't have my first drink till I was like 30. But that's something that it's not really something that like I wish I would have started younger. I'm fine with the fact that I started it at 30, but it's the mindset that came from it. So the mindset that like came from it was, for a big part of my life, I don't ever want to say that I thought if you drank, you were going to hell. It was never that. But it was like if you drank, you were like a bad person. It's like if somebody smoked and they were a Christian, it was like, how can you love Jesus and your body's a temple, yet you smoke? Dude, you could love Jesus with all your heart and you could die today of lung cancer. You're still going to heaven. Like smoking has nothing to do with it. Smoking's not keeping you out of heaven, And so it wasn't till like later in life that I started, and plus my church takes I go to the Salvation Army. They take a hard stance on, if you want to be a church member, they take a hard stance on you do not drink. And so those were the types of things that like I just grew up with. And then I got to the point where those kind of, and we've talked about this ad nauseum, I believe, on Cross Culture Critic, where going through certain things in my life, like those walls started coming down. And it was like, you know what, all this like man-made stuff, I'm done with it. I'm absolutely done with it. At that point in my life was so, exhausting. It was so exhausting trying to keep plates spinning, trying to keep up appearances, if I'm using that phrase correctly, but just putting that mask on and being like, no, everything's okay. And then finally, when I was like, everything's not okay. Like I'm going through a divorce. I'm, withdrawing from Xanax. I'm, all these like different things. I'm not okay. And I don't ever want to spend one more day trying to act like I'm okay. I just want to be me. And I love Jesus with all my heart. If the ceiling caved in on me now, I know I'm going to heaven. And I know all of this stuff, and I want to strive to be a better Christian. I want to strive to be a better father. I want to strive to be a better son. I want to strive to be a better friend. I want to be more Christ-like in my life. Drinking has nothing to do with that, And then you find out that you're like, this isn't the devil. This isn't this. This isn't that. So that's one of the bigger things. Like when you look at that scope. So those are the two that like come to mind. Those are kind of the two biggies that come to mind that like I really you ask the question and I immediately have two answers. I'm sure if you were to chit chat for, 20 minutes like I've just babbled on for, I'm sure I'm going to think of some more. But those are like the two that jump out right away, or like metal, like heavy metal, and then having a drink.
That's actually pretty similar to what I was gonna say. So like I grew up in a home where my dad was a music leader at our church, and we were just very strongly encouraged. We were commanded, but like, if you're gonna listen to music, it's gonna be Christian music, right? Like, my dad at first had such like a hard line on like what was appropriate music that it was only certain Christian music. Like, I begged for a DC Talk cassette tape at 1 year. I think it was New Thang. It was like one of their like
New thing.
New Thang, like their Fresh Prince type stuff. And my dad was so hesitant to let me listen to it that he also gave me. I don't know if you remember. This was a group of like old men singing like a cappella songs, Glad, and
I do not remember Glad.
like that's how hardcore he was on don't listen to anything but Christian music.
Oh, wow.
And I was a high schooler too. Like, I was one of those Baptist boys who was just like a real prick about it. Like everyone in school, they were going to hell. And I remember my brother, I was delightful. There's a reason I did not start dating until after high school, but but I remember my brother, like, he was kind of the rebel of the family, and he would be the one listening to Tupac and Nirvana and Green Day. And I remember like I remember hearing his Green Day album, and I heard Longview, and I'm like, what are you listening to? Like, this is devil music. You need to like before like burning music was something you did.
Oh.
Baptists invented a totally different type of burning music, and I think my brother actually had to get rid of his CDs. Now that I think about it, like he had Dookie, he had, I think, a ton of stuff like Tupac and stuff. And I was like, this is evil. You need to be listening to some Stephen Curtis Chapman. You
Yeah.
need to be like repenting and like letting Smitty guide you. And
Right.
and it's funny because years later, I started kind of mellowing and coming out of that. And just on a whim, I picked up American Idiot, Green Day CD, which might be one of my favorite albums of all time. Like,
Yeah,
I
it's
love
good.
that.
It's good.
And I was like, oh, my life is complex enough where I don't need, like, just Christian music doesn't cover every emotion I'm feeling, every thought I'm thinking. Like, and there are some artists who are not quote unquote Christian artists who deal with issues of faith and struggle. Like, Green Day's not one of them, but better than Christian artists do.
Yeah.
Like, because there's a space for doubt, and there's a space for anger, and there's a space to be loud just for being loud. Like, you don't have to have loud, fun music and then attach a Bible verse to it. Sometimes
Right.
you can just have something loud. And I think about that. I'm like, man, I missed out on a lot of fun. I probably missed out on some great concerts in the 90s. Like, when, there was that was a great period for music.
Yeah.
And I missed out because I'm listening to DC Talk and Jeff Moore in the Distance. And,
Yeah.
like last year, my brother and I, first concert in 2 years that I had been able to go to after the pandemic, we went to the Hella Mega Tour at Comerica Park.
Who was that?
Oh my gosh, that was the headliner was Green Day, but it was Green Day, Fall Out Boy, Weezer, and the Interrupters.
Oh, that's right. I'm still listening. I got to let my dog out this.
That's
door.
okay. It was such a good concert. It was so much fun and so loud. And I'm like, I never would have done this if I would have just been, still sitting there listening to DC Talk all these years later. Because where's DC Talk now? Like, Kevin Max is
yeah, he's calling people that we know to tell us to stop talking about him.
He follows me on Twitter.
Does he really?
Yeah, I gotta tell you,
he follows me in his car.
Huh?
I think he follows me in his car.
I forgot to. I don't think I've ever told you this. So I was, when we were doing Cross Culture Critic, I was trying to line up guests for the show, because I always thought like it's interspersed little interviews with what we're doing. So at one point, somehow I got to talking to Kevin Max on Twitter, and we're DMing back and forth, and he's actually he's got some interesting ideas.
Oh, I'm
And that's
sure.
but he's one of the few Christian artists who's been kind of like pushing back against, just don't engage with politics, don't engage, like, be afraid to, or don't be afraid to do the stuff that'll get you into trouble. I think he kind of does it because getting into trouble means better publicity.
Right.
But I was
He
like, yeah,
gets tons of publicity on this show.
well, so I'm like, hey man, I have this podcast. I'd love to have you on it, or even interview, and we could come up with an article or something like that. Emails, yeah, let's do this, man. Let's do this. I'm like, great, yeah. How do I get in touch with you? Sends me his email address, which I don't think I have anymore. I email him. I'm like, hey man, here's the deal. Let me know when you want to do this. I'm happy to do this. He emails back, let's do this. That's the last I ever heard of him. Just drops off the face of the earth after that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I can tell you some stuff off air about him. It's pretty funny.
I look forward to hearing that one day. What's funny is, like you mentioned, we talked about the drinking, so I won't go back to that, except to say, like, I can't imagine my life without being able to take the time to enjoy like a nice glass of wine, or sit down after a hard day and just like have a nice little like old fashioned or whiskey sour.
Yeah.
Like that's just that is a gift from God that I like to enjoy.
It is. It's funny how like when I was growing up and I didn't drink, and like say in my 20s and I didn't drink, and people would be like, oh, I got to go to a wedding, but there's no drinking at the wedding, which means there's not going to be any fun at the wedding, And I'd hear people say that, and I'm like, dude, I have plenty of fun without drinking, blah, blah, blah. And I do have to say that, like, in my family, there was never any drinking at like Thanksgiving, Christmas, none of that, because the matriarchs of the family were dead set against it. Well, as they've passed away, the first, like my grandmother, my mom's mom passed away, 25 years ago. And then my aunt, she, like, her and her health is struggling. So she's not able to come to as many things anymore. And so now they're kind of gone. And I think, I'm not positive, but I think it kind of started where like one Thanksgiving, I was just like, I don't care. I'm having something to drink. And my cousin was like, you're having something to drink? I'm like, yeah. He's like, can I? I'm like, if you want.
Is this allowed?
Yeah. So then he did. And then like my sister makes these like amazing things. They're called like French gimlets. Freaking amazing. Such a refreshing drink. So she starts making them, and it's like the three of us. And then like my uncle's like, I'll have one. And then pretty soon everyone. So now whenever we get together, 4th of July, like whenever people are getting together in our family for whatever reason, like someone's bringing, bottle of wine, or somebody has, some sort of like little mixed cocktail that they're making. And it just makes it more fun. Like the laughter is better, the stories, anything that like there might be a little roadblock where you're like, maybe I shouldn't tell the story. Those barricades are gone. So everyone's telling stories, and it's just fun and it's funny. And like, and the same thing with like a wedding. You go to a wedding where there's an open bar, and then you go to a wedding where there's Pepsi, Sprite, and water, and it's quite a different wedding. And now I'm kind of on this side of the fence where I'm like, oh, there's not going to be drinking at the wedding. Yeah, I don't want to go.
I used to go to Baptist weddings, which were also called funerals, and because there was like
Reese puts in the rim shot there.
Because like when the weddings I would go to growing up, it wasn't just that there wasn't drinking, there was no dancing. Like it was like going to I don't even know how to say a high school banquet, because there's dancing there. Like it was like going to a funeral dinner. Like it was awful. And yeah,
you sit at your assigned table. There's no drinking, and then there's no dancing. You're just sitting at a table talking.
Yeah. And you're always stuck at a table with people you don't know,
Yeah.
and so oh god, yeah. So I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful there are plenty of family outings my wife and I leave where we're like, that would have been 10 times funner if people had just like opened up a bottle of wine,
Yeah.
like just loosen up a bit.
Absolutely.
So I do think I had another question.
All
If
right.
you want to jump
Hit
into
me with
that,
it.
yeah.
Hit me with your best shot.
So okay, here's something, and I've been thinking about this in my life a lot. But it's always kind of amazed me that you like when we've talked before about how you don't tour anymore, you don't record anymore, and you're totally happy with that. Like
Yeah.
like I've asked you before, like would you do that again? No, and I will always admit, and I might have said this once on one of our other podcasts, like my brain like can't process that because I feel like I always have to have something going. Like
Mhm.
it's really weird. Like after work, I have to have a movie to watch, but I can't just watch the movie. It's a movie I have to watch so I can write about it or I can do a podcast about it. I always
Yeah.
have to have, three newsletters ready to go that week or a podcast episode ready to go or some sort of iron in the fire, like some sort of creative outlet. And
Sure.
that's probably a disorder. Like it's probably like I'm probably avoiding something by throwing like that much stuff at me. But it's also just part of who I am. I like to have that creative outlet. So I'm curious, like, what is your creative outlet today? Like, do you like obviously you have two podcasts.
Mhm.
Like, is that your creative outlet, or do you still songwrite at all, or do you have other
I really
projects you
don't.
do?
I went through like a little phase where I started writing again. Like I had a muse and I started writing again. And then it gets to the point where it's like in order to write and record, like I would have had to put money into the equipment to be able to do it.
Hmm.
Um Things like that. Reese and I have had this conversation, and he really supports me and encourages me, like, Joe, it really would take nothing for you to do this, and then you just do this into your computer and you do this and this. And I'm like, nope, you already lost me. Like, I'm already lost. So I told him, I'm like, dude, if you write the music and send me the music and I just put lyrics to it and then send it back, like record my voice and send it back, and you want to do whatever you want with it, so be it. But it's not like I got this $1 million voice that people are dying to have on their songs or their art that they made this music and then ruin it with my voice. So the songwriting really it really doesn't bite at me anymore. Like for creative outlet, like I used to love playing bass. We just talked about this like an episode or two ago. I used to love playing bass in our church praise band. Like I loved it. It was like a ton of fun, and it was just simple songs and stuff like that, and I just absolutely loved it. And I don't do it anymore. They have a couple different people that they go to for bass, but it was something that I absolutely loved. So my like creativity like shifts. So yes, my two podcasts I would say take up most of that
Mhm.
creativity. Um there's the itch of like you still Leonore from Five Iron and I talk about this, that Reese doesn't have it. He doesn't have this within him, but Leonore and I do, and it's like being on stage and like having that attention is like a drug. And when you no longer have it, you kind of miss that and you
Sure.
crave it. And so the podcast, just the simplicity of having a podcast and seeing that people are actually listening to it, and then to go a step further and have the diabolical discussion page where people give a crap and actually want to talk about it and make memes and do all that stuff, makes me feel amazing. And it allows me to right wrongs that I feel I committed in the insiders. So in the insiders, I really feel like I took fans for granted. And I really felt like we would be doing the insiders forever and it would never end. And people would always love us and people would always like our music. Well, 3 years later, that wasn't the case. And so I remember maybe how I treated people, how I didn't put the fans like number one. It was like, you're in your early 20s and you're just kind of selfish and it's like, no, I'm always going to have fans, but right now is me time. Like prior to the show, it's me. If a kid comes up and wants my autograph, come on, man, I'm eating my Subway. It's like 44-year-old me looks back at 18, 19-year-old me, and just like all of us do, and you're like, you're an idiot. So this allows me to right those wrongs. So, I make myself very available for people to contact me if they want to talk to me about stuff, if they want to text me, if they want to, message me, anything like that. Like I try and make myself available and to right those wrongs where I might not have given people that time in the past. And I come to realize like there's amazing, really cool, creative people out there that, just me and my little bubble here in Detroit, like there's a much bigger world, and the people that I've met, the Lane Helms, the Daniel Rocks. I'm trying to think of other people who are on the Diabolical Discussion page that are like these amazing creative people that like, they have more creativity in their pinky than I do in my whole body. So with the creativity, that's where it kind of goes for me, is in those directions. I've told you I have 2 books in my head that I know would sell. I feel like I know they would sell. I have 2 ideas. I think if I started writing them, I think I could probably get a 50-page, a 50-page kind of story down. And then it would take somebody who's really good at writing to take those 50 pages and make that into a 200-page book.
Mm-hmm.
But I have like 2 really good ideas. I feel like for books, I first started off thinking it would be a comic book, and I'm like, I could do this in a comic book series and tell the story. And then I just started thinking like, no, maybe it just needs to be a book. And so I have these 2 ideas. So that's like, those are just locked in there because I never have really the time. I don't set that time aside to like sit down and knock those out. But nowadays where it's like kind of easy, like it's not like the old days where to get like a book published, like now you just pay and you can get your book, however many copies you want to pay, you just pay for the copies to be printed. But so like I feel like I have good ideas there for like 2 books that I feel like would sell, and I just don't have the time to write them. I've asked you to help me and, our schedules and stuff and things. It hasn't come together yet. It's not like I don't think it's ever going to happen. But that's kind of it. So to answer your question, that's kind of where my creativity goes. And I just enjoy being a dad. My kids are out of the kid phase. They're teenagers and they're doing like real things in their lives, like they're getting their driver's permits and they're driving. And my oldest is, she's in high school. She's dual enrolled in high school and in college. So, she's already gone away to college where she does high school half the day, college the second half of the day, and she's gone and she's gotten a job. And to be able to sit down tonight, I had like date night with my youngest because everybody was busy. So it's just me and Mia went out, and to just sit down with your daughter and have like real conversations, not like, oh, what movie, like the little
Mm-hmm.
conversations that we have with like our little kids, like, hey, what'd you think of Encanto or whatever the case may be. Like we can have like real conversations about, Russia and Ukraine, or, what this teacher said at school. And I had the conversation with my youngest today. She was like, yeah, Dad, we have to do a project where the teacher asked, do we think the Constitution of the United States should stand like as it is, or should it be like thrown away and a new one written for like now? And so it allowed us to have this like really cool discussion at a bar. Like I took her to Renshaw's, this bar that, we love to go to. And we just sat there and we talked about this. And those are the cool things to me now that I would always like, I'm always going to take going and eating with Mia over sitting down and writing a book. Like all of that creativity stuff kind of takes when there's time. Whereas Reese puts that stuff a premium. Like he has to create. And the Reese I know, he might come on and tell you different, but the Reese I know, like he really puts a premium on creativity, and he's always doing something. He's tinkering with something. He's recording something all the time. Me, I'm not. It's like when I finally get the time and I lay down and I'm like, oh my gosh, today's a Saturday and I got nothing to do. Then maybe I'll pick up the guitar. But I don't put that as like a premium to like, hey, on Tuesday night, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to dedicate 2 hours to like writing 10 pages of my book. I don't do that.
Yeah, I do. And it's
I
like
know.
it's really like I think there's a part of me that's like I remember all the energy and ideas I had in my 20s and how I came home and just like would watch episodes of The Office for 4 hours. And I'm like, "Oh, I got to make up for all that lost time." But it's
Yeah.
also I don't know. It is interesting. I feel like when I left newspapers, because I was a reporter for about 4 or 5 years. You actually had that right. Uh, I was a reporter in Shelby Township for a while, and I loved the fact that I knew people read my stuff and wrote me hate mail and
Yeah.
got angry about stuff I would write. Like I love that. Like I would bait that. I would write political columns just because I knew they would piss people off, and I would like save the hate mail and stuff like that. But I think also someone actually the worst bit of hate mail I got was someone like sending me like a middle picture of their middle finger when I trashed the movie about Johnny Cash, the
Oh, Walk the Line.
Walk the Line, which I've since come around to and I actually like. But
See, he was right.
yeah, he was right. But it's like now it's like, oh well, I missed that, so now I've got to keep up with this. So, I have a newsletter. I should put this newsletter out like once a week, but I'm like, oh no, this has to go out 3 times this week. I have to have 3 movies I'm writing about this week. I do a podcast with a fellow critic of mine, and I've just now broken out of the cycle where I'm like, we have to record every 2 weeks, or this is not worth our time to where I'm able to just say, we'll record, once or twice a month. And as long as we're happy, it's the show and it's
Yeah.
fine. But then, at the back of my mind, I've got this other stuff where I'm like, oh, my wife bought me a YouTube kit. I should look into YouTubing. I should like do YouTube movie reviews and do that. And by the way, there's this novel in the back of my head where I'm like, for 30 years, I've wanted to do that. And the problem comes when you're in your 40s, like you said, and time begins to be a premium. And there have been so many times where it's like my kids just want me to sit and watch, Amazing World of Gumball with them, which I can't stand. But
Thank God I don't even know what that is.
it's a kids show. But I'm like, no, I'm busy. I'm working on this. And then when you take the time, it's like you said, it's so much more fulfilling to take that time. Like my son right now, he's just discovered girls, so we've started being able to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, me too.
Uh, we so like he's unfortunately got my genes where he's gonna be like a little
Husky.
husky and short, yeah, and he's starting to be really really concerned about his height because I'm 5'5", and
You're that
my
tall?
wife, yeah, exactly. And my wife is like 5'3", 5'4". She's shorter than me. And so, we've tried to prepare our son to be like, you're not going to be that tall. So now he's getting really concerned. He's like, well, I don't, what about girls? Are girls not going to like me if I'm short? And my wife, of course, says, no, you just be who you are. Girls do not reject people because of their height. To which I had to say, actually, they do it all the time. They love to do that. Before I met you, Kelly, I had 10 years of dating app experience where people would see that 5'5" and be like, and
Swipe right.
but like also like maybe this just also ties into the busyness sickness that I have. Like I started doing DoorDash on the side recently because I'm like, oh, we want to go on these trips, we want to sell our house eventually. DoorDash is a great way to make some money. And but what's been cool is I can take my son to do that with me. And we have like the nicest conversations just while we're out delivering.
You have the best dinners while you're out delivering.
You can take like 3 fries before they start getting suspicious. It's cheap. But it is weird. Like you get older and that creative drive for me is still there. But it's like now you've got to balance it with the stuff that actually matters. Because
Yeah.
when you're in your 20s, that is the stuff that matters. Like I think it's a male thing partly. Like we are told our career is everything, and so produce or be forgotten,
Yeah.
right? And
Right.
you start getting to your 40s and you're like, my job is my job. Like, you know, the roofing company might put a little plaque up when you retire,
Right.
but you know, no
A
one's
gold
gonna
shingle.
exactly. You know, everything I write, nothing has my name on it anymore, right? Like I don't have a byline in marketing, and they're gonna forget that in 5 years. You know, whenever I leave,
Yeah.
and but you know, this is the stuff that matters.
Yeah.
But we will write that book one day. That will happen.
Yeah. I hope we do. Do you have any quick questions? We have like maybe 10, 15 minutes left.
Oh, let me see. I think I got some stupid ones I sent you, like little inane topics. Did you see the Batman?
I did.
Is it good? Because I have not seen it.
Chris, I think it's amazing.
Okay.
I
I'm
think
supposed to see it
it
this
is
weekend.
amazing. I'm not going to give anything away. I'm going to say that I think it's one of the best soundtracks I've ever heard. I've heard in years. I mean, other than The Greatest Showman. Okay, let's say this. Other than a musical, right, where
Okay,
the
sure.
where the music is what the movie is, for just a movie that has a soundtrack, a score that plays in the background. I mean, this is like I think it is top notch. Me and my kids walked out of the theater, and all three of us were like, the music from that is just unbelievable. I was streaming it sitting at my desk the other day. It was fantastic, but I really enjoyed the movie. I'm not going to give anything away. I think this was a fantastic Batman movie, the way that I think, my opinion, the way that I think Batman movies should be. Less superhero, more human.
Okay.
Like that Batman world, he doesn't have superpowers. He learned martial arts and he has some gadgets. And so this is like that human um Batman, as opposed to I'm fighting Superman Batman. And so that's
Okay.
what I really liked about it is I I was sitting there, and after the movie, I was thinking to myself, there wasn't a whole lot in that movie. Now I saw it once, so maybe not everything clicked, and people are listening to this and they're thinking, oh my gosh, he's so wrong. But from what I remember, there wasn't a whole lot of times in that movie where it was like, oh yeah, right, like you would do that. Oh right, like that could happen. Is it a movie? Yes. Is it a crazy action movie? Yes. But there are certain things that I don't want to, give away or talk specifically about. But there's things in the movie where you're like, all right, I could see that playing out that way. I could see
Okay.
that happening. And that's the way that should have happened. And so that's what I thought was real cool was how that worked.
Because I want to see Batman. I'm seeing it Saturday, but I have this theory, and I'm gonna just spend the last few minutes indulging some like geek theory I have,
Okay.
which is I think we are on the cusp of seeing the DC movies and TV shows. Everything's a movie or TV show these days. Start to lap the Marvel ones, in my interest at least. And I'm gonna explain why.
Okay.
Like I love the Marvel movies. I love the Marvel movies. I like most of the TV shows a lot that they've done. And what I like is kind of that interconnectedness that they have. That it's all one story. They've done that really well, and I think they've done that great. And I'm interested in that. But I think over time you're gonna start to see that get a little samey. Like right, like they kind of follow the same template every time they go around. And I've even noticed like Captain Marvel and Doctor Strange are basically just Iron Man. Like just different characters, but they're the same thing. They're Iron Man. DC has always kind of frustrated me after the Chris Nolan films because as soon as they brought like Zack Snyder in, they start trying to follow the Marvel template, like right? Like tie everything together, and they did an awful job at it. Like I hate Batman vs Superman.
Yeah.
I hate Justice League. I really dislike the Snyder cut. Like they're all things that just don't interest me. They're not takes on the character. But I've noticed like DC will do this thing. They treat them Like, the best way I can say it, Marvel treats their movies and TV shows like an ongoing comic book series. Like, you read a Marvel comic and the characters all pop up in each other's stories. There's usually one, like, overarching through line going through everything. DC is starting to treat its movies more like graphic novels, where they're a little more comfortable saying, "Yeah, this is out of continuity, but we have a really fun director, and we're gonna play with this and just see it. It's weird, but we'll just see what happens, right?" And it's led to some like really weird stuff. Like, I really enjoy Shazam. I think Wonder Woman is fine. Um, I hate Joker. Like, I think Joker is one of the most unpleasant movies I have sat through in the last, 10 years. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I did.
I Okay. I hated that movie. I know
It
a lot
was
of people love it,
it was like for me.
but I'm like, I can also look at that and go, I don't like that movie, but oh my gosh, that is not like any other comic book movie I've seen. That is interesting, even if I don't like it. The Harley Quinn movie, Birds of Prey, like, is a movie that is not like any other comic book movie I've seen. It's weird and silly and yet bloody, and I'm like, I kind of like this. This is really
I
good.
didn't see that one.
Oh, it's good. It's
I'll watch it
really
on
good.
HBO tonight.
Um, the James Gunn Suicide Squad. I didn't love it as much as everyone else did, but I thought it was really funny. I thought it was different. I'm like, oh, he's basically doing a splatter movie as a superhero movie. It's super. Have you seen that one?
I did, and I've seen it a couple of times where like I see different parts of it at different point. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like I'll start watching, I'll fall asleep, or
All right.
I'll turn it on and I'll start cleaning, and then you're just kind of seeing it bits and pieces.
You need to watch it, even if I don't think it's a great movie, but I think it's fun. But you need to watch it because the next thing you need to watch is Peacemaker on
Right.
HBO,
Right, the show on HBO. Is it HBO or Hulu?
HBO Max.
Okay, yeah.
And that show shocked the hell out of me because I hated John Cena in the Suicide Squad movie. I didn't like that character. He's just an asshole. The TV show is all about, yeah, he's an asshole, but here's why. He's got a dad who is an even bigger asshole, and he's gonna have to. And it brings in this Guardians of the Galaxy type thing where he has to join this team of like really messed up people, and it's funny and violent and profane, and yet John Cena is actually a really good dramatic actor, and there are some really moving, deep things. And then you talk about Poison. There is like a scuzzy hair metal soundtrack to this whole show that is, no kidding, the best soundtrack I have heard on a TV show ever.
Really?
Like, oh my gosh, the opening credits to this show, which I recommend just go Google them. You can find them on YouTube. They are the greatest opening credits I have ever seen to any TV show. Just the match of the song to what happens over the opening credits, that sold me on the whole show.
Really?
And I'm like,
Okay.
yeah, and I'm like, okay, well, DC is taking some weird swings, like weird big swings. And then the Batman looks like no other Batman movie I've seen.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's interesting. And I could see like Marvel getting tiring and DC saying, we're going to take these weird swings and some of them aren't going to work, but when they work, they're going to be really good.
Yeah, see, I agree with you there. I think it's almost human nature. Like, I don't know if you're into sports, but take the sports figure like Tom Brady.
Mhm.
Like Tom Brady, as he was a rookie and moving up, and after he won his first Super Bowl, he's about to win his first Super Bowl. People love Tom Brady because he hadn't won yet.
Mhm.
Well, 6 Super Bowls later, everybody hates Tom Brady. He's still the same Tom Brady that was from 20 years ago, but everybody hates him now because he's a constant winner. Come on, let's have somebody else win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Let's get another team there. And so I think that's what it is with Marvel is they've dominated. They hit home run after home run after grand slam after grand slam. And people get used to just going to Marvel and seeing like a good movie. And then they put out something like The Eternals that a lot of people didn't like. I did like it.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah. And I liked it. Everybody I know hated it. I loved it. And I loved it in the sense that, like, okay, this is going to set up, the next couple movies, or this is going to be a major movie that like plays into probably several more, in the future type deal. So I really like the Eternals. Um, but I agree with you that if DC, they don't have to tie everything together. I don't have to see the DC version of Endgame. If they put out, I will say this though, I think DC characters lack big time as compared to Marvel characters.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So, but if they start putting out movies that they just, like you said, this is just like a good novel. It's a good movie that we have a good story, that we have good, characters that can make this work. Aquaman, I thought Aquaman was absolute garbage. I think Aquaman is a garbage character.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, you got to see it. It's awful. Like you watch it, it's cringy. You're like, oh my gosh, like I need to be on acid to understand half this movie. And so you just watch it, it's just dumb. And then like, I don't know. I don't think there's been like a good Superman movie made, because I think it's very hard to make a Superman movie. We've talked about this before, where Superman is like the best of everything. Like he's the best. He doesn't really have a downside. Whereas like Marvel characters, like everybody has like a downside. You might be an absolute awful person, but you have this power that thrusts you in front of the country, or to take Tony Stark. Like, he's a snarky, spoiled, like all this stuff, but he possesses this power, this brain to make all these amazing gadgets and suits, and he does what he does. But like Superman, it's like he's good looking, he has a great personality, he's nice, he's kind, he's loving, he can stop a bullet, he can fly, he can run fast. Whereas like the Flash can just run fast. Well, Superman can do that. The Hulk, who's like basically impenetrable. Well, Superman can do that. And then this person, that their power is flight. Well, Superman can do that too. So it's like he was like a kid on a playground that, is playing, and he has like a defense to everything. Oh, I just shot you. I had a force field. Like Superman, he's everything. So I think it's hard to like, especially this day and age, like it's not the 50s anymore where you're like, oh, Superman's great, and we're fighting the Nazis or whatever, and this is a guy who stops meteors from hitting the earth. Like comic books aren't like that anymore. Like a comic book, the plot to a comic book isn't a meteor is coming towards the earth. Like it's deep issues, it's social issues, it's all these different things that are taking comics in different directions. And I think Superman is obsolete now.
I think it's hard to do a Superman movie when the Captain America movies have done what a good Superman movie would do, right? Like,
yeah,
that is Marvel's Superman.
Yeah.
But I also think, like, the key is with Superman, you can't test him physically because, like you said, he's not going to lose that. You have to put everyone he loves in jeopardy or challenge his values, right? So you think of like Captain America is all, rah rah America in that first Captain America movie. The reason that second one, Winter Soldier, works so well is now he's realizing this country he's fought for, this organization he's helped, is corrupt. And what does he do about that? And that's why that movie's interesting. Superman, you kind of got to play with that. You gotta put Lois Lane in danger or make him rethink his values. I always like the idea. There's a Superman comic called Red Sun, and I haven't read it.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, and it's like, what if Superman landed? Gosh, maybe this is the wrong time to mention this comic book because it's what if he landed in Russia, at the height of the Soviet Union.
Yeah,
and that's interesting because is Superman good because he is just innately good, or
here's what sucks about that. You haven't read that comic. The idea that you have in your head of how that can be written is 1,000 times better than what they did.
Oh,
I was so stoked when I heard the little synopsis of Red Sun, and got the comic and, read it, and it's horrible.
Well,
It's garbage.
maybe I'll just watch the animated movie on HBO.
It's not much better, but the animated, save the time, watch the animated,
All
and
right.
lots of corners were cut. Like they could have spent a year working on that, and it was like, let's do it in a 4-book mini series. And it's like, no, this should have been a whole, like, dedicate a year or 2 years to Superman comics of just going through this whole plot and everything, and they didn't. That I
Yeah.
don't. So that was a bummer.
That is a shame.
But yeah, but I do agree with you that there, at a certain point, the just how good Marvel is, just people get used to it just being so good. And then with DC, the Batman is fantastic. And if
Okay.
they start putting out other stuff, like, I don't think they can, in the vein, like, in the sense that, like, if you took the Batman and say 3 movies from now, the Batman is going to be teaming up with Aquaman, is going to be teaming up with Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. It
No, I
wouldn't
don't want that.
work. It
No, I
wouldn't
don't want
work
that.
because you're going to see, when you watch this movie, you're going to see that it doesn't feel like it's in a comic book world. Like, everything is very real. The villain or villains are very real. The people in the city are very real. The problems are very real. It's not comic booky. It's not superhero. It's not. And I think that is why I liked the Batman so much, because in years past, you have all these amazing Marvel movies, and then DC tries to be Marvel, and they can't. And so, just like we said at the beginning of the last show that you were on, where sometimes it's the little thing that comes out of nowhere. And so
Mhm.
we're so used to these amazing big Marvel blockbusters, to have this Batman movie that is just, it's a murder mystery. It's a murder mystery. And
He's
that's
actually
what.
a detective.
Yeah, and it goes back to the
Interesting.
roots of DC Comics, Detective Comics, and that's what I think is really cool. It's a detective in a cool suit, but I mean, there's no aliens coming down. He's not fighting anybody who was, injected with something. He's a human being that is above average, and the whole movie is just very human, and I thought that was refreshing, and I think that's why that it's kind of stuck with me. And then the soundtrack is just freaking awesome. If you're listening to this, throw on Spotify, pull up Apple iTunes, and just listen to it. I mean, it's crazy. It's it's very dark and brooding, but it is a great soundtrack.
All right, can't wait.
Yeah. All right. Well, we are at. I think we're over, but that's okay. Just bonus for Patreons such as you and I. And Chris, let everybody know where they can get a hold of you, where they can read about you, where they can do anything that you're a
Yeah.
part of. Let everybody know.
Sure. You can find me on Twitter. I'm at Mere Christianity. I think you can find me under Criticisms on Facebook. I do a newsletter called Criticisms, which is available on Substack. Joe, I can pass all this along to you for the show notes if you have show notes.
Of course, we don't.
All right. And then I do a podcast. I do a podcast called We're Watching Here with fellow critic of mine, Perry Seibert. We talk about movies, mostly older movies.
Did you say
We're going
movies
through
or boobies?
both if it's the right movie.
Yeah.
But we're going through a series of on the films of Robert Altman right now. We just did The Long Goodbye, which is a really good private eye movie. We did stuff on the 70s. So we do old movies there for the most part, and it is a lot of fun.
Awesome. Well, you guys, this is episode 28, Pickle and Boot Shop. Hopefully, Reese can come back soon, and I think I'm going to take some time off, and Reese and Chris can go at it. And I think that would be fantastic for listeners and for me, because I'm a Patreon now. So I want to hear that, and I want to give the people what they want to hear. So you guys, thanks for listening, and we're going to continue to do this. And again, Patreons, thank you so much for even giving us a dime every single month. It still blows my mind it absolutely blows my mind that you guys pay for this and you guys support us and you love this and we can interact and all that good stuff. So again, thank you so much. We will talk to you later. Bye.